Welcome back, Toon Bats. I'm Azzy, this is Obscure Undead, and I hope you are having a fabulous week. I have an album suggestion for you today, and that is Then Comes Silence's sixth studio album, Hunger, which came out on July 1st. Now, Then Comes Silence is a band that they've generated a lot of buzz. Wayne Hussey has described them as Then Comes Silence are everything a band should be. Good tunes, good playing and singing, and good looking. Their songs are earworms, once heard, difficult to forget, as catchy as gonorrhea, but far better for your health. Now, if that's not a ringing endorsement from one of the godfathers of goth, I don't know what is. Then Comes Silence is a four-piece act from Sweden, with Alex Svensson on vocals, bass, and synthesizers, Jonas Franson on drums, Matthias Ruejas Johnson on guitars, and Hugo Zombie also on guitars. So they have, lead guitarist and a rhythm guitarist, and one of them is Hugo Zombie, who I love from Los Carniceros del Norte. Don't get me off on a tangent. I will go off. I just love that band. Anyway, they formed back in 2012, and the last album they put out was in 2020. It was called Machine, had great acclaim, and since that album, I kind of noticed that there were a few other modern goth bands that were drifting towards the direction of Machine's very radio-friendly goth style, which, not as much a big fan of that, honestly, but, that's kind of a testament to how good they sound. So, this album, Hunger, though, came after their 2021 release of 4 EPs themed after the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, so death, famine, war, and pestilence, disease, whatever you want to call it. And each of these had covers that sort of fit that theme. And I think that doing the covers albums was really good for them, because when I listened to Hunger, I liked most of the tracks through it, and I could listen to the album on repeat and not get as burnt out on sort of the sameness of their sound. They experimented with some really cool synthesizer action on this album, different guitar riffs. It's still very much, 4/4 time, driven for dancing and moving. There's not a lot of ups and downs in terms of tempo, but there are so many interesting elements that I can hear coming from bands like Susie and the Banshees, Echo and the Bunnymen classics, and newer bands like She Passed Away. So to hear those in their music really spiced it up for me. I would have liked to hear more of it on this album, but I'll take what I can get. So one cool thing about this album too is it kind of features an all-star cast of guest vocalists, backing vocalists. So there's William Faith, Carolina Engdahl of True Moon, Goza Dozer of O Animo, and those last two are both living in Stockholm now, I believe. So yay, geographic closeness and collaboration. And Mikael Borbjerg Jakobsen, oh my god, I'm bad at these, from The Foreign Resort. So the album starts off with Tickets to Funerals, which has a really heavy guitar. It's the heaviest song on the album, and it's kind of reminiscent of a previous release that they did, Warm Like Blood. And, I appreciated that. I kind of expected more from the album, but it also had synthesizers, which it worked, but then they kind of went in a different direction as the album went further on. So the second track, Rise to the Bait, has a really catchy chorus that's easy to pick up right away on and sing along to, which I love. And Alex's voice is just lovely. It's not that deep, droning baritone. I think it's called a tenor, but it's very nice. It's lovely to listen to. And then you get tracks like Cold from the Inside and Worm. Cold from the Inside, I really liked the guitar work on it, and the lyrics were melancholy to suit my life, suit your life, to suit all our lives. Shit sucks right now, but it's fine. This song is sort of a great tribute to that, in my opinion. We get to tracks like Worm, which have a great... Sorry. So we get to tracks like Worm, that have a really nice, clean guitar work that's offset by this throbbing bass. The guitar work kind of put me in mind of Susie and the Banshees' song Spellbound, which was really nice. Then as the album goes on, you kind of find a dropout of these electronic elements, but Unknowingly Blessed was really interesting because it starts off with part of a verse a cappella, which I thought was really nice. It was a nice touch. It's not something that we've heard from the band before, and like I said, that's something I really appreciated on this album. If you're new to Then Comes Silence, I think that this is a great starter album. It's definitely one of their strongest, at least in my opinion. I would love to see more experimentation from them in the future, more risk-taking, I guess you'd call it, but these sounds are so good. They're not risks, they're just lovely, lovely, lovely goth sprinkles. Anyway, that's it for Hunger. You can get it on Nexillus for the European distro or Metropolis Records for the American distro, and I should say right now, thank you Metropolis Records for sending me a copy of this album to review. I really appreciate it. And if you, dear listener, would like to hear my opinion or take on your album or just something you really enjoy that's been released recently, you can email me at obscuraundead@gmail.com or just comment, down below. Either way works. I look at both, so it's all good. And before I go, there's something I really want to plug because I think it's super cool. Cemetery Confessions just did a feature on this, but it is the church documentary, which is currently in process. There's a fundraiser up on Indiegogo. I'll link to it in the description down below. But it is a person who really loves the club. I wish I could remember his name. I'm very sorry to you. But he loves the club. He wants to do a documentary on it since the church closed as a result of the COVID pandemic. And there's a lot of cool bonuses and perks. I'm not getting any sort of kickback or benefit for suggesting this to you. I just think it's really cool. And that wraps up my time with you today. Thank you for joining me here. I would like to give a special shout out to all of our patrons who help make Obscure and Dead possible. We love you. We couldn't do this without you. And I also want to thank, because you guys are just as important, the people who have subscribed to the channel. And if you haven't, what are you waiting for? Come on, I'm great. We're great here. It's a great small little community. Like, comment, subscribe, all that shit. And I will see you very, very soon. Love you. Bye-bye.
This ignorance of consciousness, despair.